Brian Callahan, new head coach of the Tennessee Titans, did not get the memo that it's no longer suit and tie season when you're introduced as a head coach. Head coaches never wear suit and ties. The only time you should wear a suit and tie if you're a head coach is to a wedding or a funeral, particularly your own. But it's just let them be natural. Let them be themselves. Get out there. Gerard Mayo got it right last week with the Patriots. Anyway, did the Titans get it right, Peter? We'll find out. They need somebody to get the most out of Will Levis. They get an offensive guy. I like the approach with offensive head coaches when you have a young quarterback because that's your most important connection, the young quarterback and the coach who's responsible for him. You don't want it to be a defensive coach with an offensive coordinator who, if everything goes well, ends up being a head coach somewhere else. You want Callahan and Levis tied together for years to come. If it works, we'll see if it does.
I remember about 10 years ago being in Denver doing something with Peyton Manning in his last couple of years, and the subject of his quarterback room came up, and he goes, "Peter, this guy Callahan's really good. Very, very thorough." So that just sort of stuck with me. And then the other thing that stuck with me about Brian Callahan, and I think that'll hold him in good stead, and I talked to him about this yesterday. In 2016 and 2017, in Detroit, he was the quarterback coach, and Jim Bob Cooter was the offensive coordinator. And back-to-back, Matthew Stafford, to that point, had the two most efficient seasons in tandem that he had ever had. Remember, at that point, Stafford was kind of, the Wild West shootout guy. But in these 2 years together, he threw only a total of 20 interceptions. It was way over at a boatload. But Jim Bob Cooter and Brian Callahan sold a veteran quarterback who already had a lot of pelts on the wall, sold him on saying, hey, listen, the check down is your friend. And if you can just throw maybe a few less interceptions, if you can do this, if you can be a little bit more efficient, if you can take a few less chances without ruining yourself, and just think of doing the following things. And again, you can't ask a quarterback to play careful, but Callahan told me we just tried to eliminate some of his mistakes that were definitely fixable, and he's a great quarterback. And I think he's going to do the same thing with Will Levis. The one trademark I think we've seen early in Will Levis, there is no throw that he's afraid of making or afraid of trying. And I think coming into this year, I think Brian Callahan is going to stress to him, listen, a 5-yard gain on a check down is better than an incompletion 45 yards down the field, unless the 45-yard completion downfield is got a 30, 40, 50% chance of happening. So I think that's going to be good. The one other thing that impressed me about Will Levis and this relationship that I think he's going to have with Brian Callahan is that Callahan has seen how it's done correctly with a lot of different quarterbacks, with Peyton Manning in Denver, with Matthew Stafford in Detroit, with Joe Burrow in Cincinnati. And I think that he's taken something from all of those quarterbacks, every one, and he will bring it to Will Levis. And Levis has got to be all ears right now with Brian Callahan. So I look forward to seeing how this works in this sort of collaborative way that Amy Adams Strunk made an absolute mandate with this thing. And that's why Mike Vrabel's not coaching this team anymore, that he wasn't Joe Collaborative, at least the owner felt. Brian Callahan's definitely going to be a collaborative dude.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.